Yeah.
And I remember you were wrong today, this second one is going to continue because we have.
You guys talked about it.
But the site plan is on the website, the butter is gonna look at it.
Yeah, but we aren't gonna open up. We gotta play now. Every 2 hours.
They're on other business, yeah.
I would say I had to fill it out.
455. Or plus 40.
Gotcha.
There is a backside.
Wait a minute. 45 Park Road. Oh, yes, it's on the other. Okay. All right, welcome to the evening of October 9th Conservation Commission meeting at the Municipal Center. We'll start with the first continued hearing, which is for Route 126 Hartford Avenue, improvements along Hartford Avenue within the 100-foot buffer zone. Applicant is the DPW for Bellingham, and the representatives are Keith Lincoln with Chapel Engineering Associates.
Oh, you know what? I just admitted him.
Whoops. Okay, Keith is going to come online. Keith, can you hear us?
Okay.
Keith, can you hear us?
Yes, yes.
Thank
Hi,
you.
everybody.
Okay, welcome.
Sorry about that.
No problem. We got technical things to go squared away here, I think. So we had last left this at what point, in your opinion? At the last hearing?
From the last hearing, there was the peer review consultant was in the process of developing a scope and fee to review the storm scepter sizing and the overall design that we have provided. And since then, my understanding is that a scope and fee has been prepared, and this has been reviewed with Public Works and with Rob Lussier to figure out how to provide the payment from the MassWorks grant for the peer review. And since I've provided Hannah with some materials that would help facilitate the review specifically of the storm scepter sizing, that is now available to the peer reviewer. And I think it's a matter of awaiting the peer review and then responding to that.
Okay, I do have one question or point I would like to bring up at some point in time here, but let me just say that the commission members should have seen the portal, had the opportunity hopefully to see the portal. The information was provided by Chappelle for the storm scepter and the other details of the structure and so forth. Has everyone or anyone had a chance to review the BSC group proposals for the scope of work? Because I did have a point about that, which I think some of the commission members had brought up as something that we wanted to focus on, which did not, in my opinion, seem to be covered in this work. In fact, may be specifically excluded. So we may want to discuss this BSC proposal before deciding whether we want to proceed with it as it's stated. So specifically, so first off, I'll ask, do commission members have any questions about the proposal or issues that they saw from BSC? I was going to focus on, I'll read the one line that, one of the portions of the scope of services provided by BSC's October 2nd proposal. BSC's review will be limited to the drainage design relative to the proposed outlet within the buffer zone to the BVW, water quality design and calculations, and the operations and maintenance plan for this area. So the storm scepter device that's going to be put in place there, and they also describe in the other two portions of the scope just the overall 1900 section of roadway, and that there are buffer zones with bordering vegetated wetland, and a new drainage outlet will be created that will direct runoff to the BVW on the east side of Route 126, which is into the, as we said before, the White Pine Barrens area, resource area. I think one of the concerns that the commission had was to make, as part of the study, the impact environmentally of the storm scepter's discharge into that area, resource area, specifically that while sediments may be dealt with in the storm scepter, oils, salts, and other potential contaminants from the roadway would not be treated. And we were going to look at and look for, I think, some professional wetland science oriented input as to the potential negative environmental impacts of that, because it's going to be discharged. And I think even we've had Keith mention, because the question was asked during a previous meeting, what happens if the overflow rate is exceeded because we're getting a lot of rain, and it's going to just discharge out directly, not even be treated at that point in time, because it's overcoming the level of the storm scepter to successfully desedimentize, if that's a real word. Big stuff. But I think the chemical impacts of the salt, oils, as other things that aren't treated, going into that resource area unchecked and unmodified, without some sort of environmental impact study or information, I think would be something we wanted to have. That seems to be excluded.
Well, I think that it should include just a review of whether it meets the performance standards regarding those removal requirements.
Well,
And
but you're saying it doesn't, or it does, you think it should have that, but.
I think it's not clear.
Okay.
I think they're just looking at TSS removal, aren't they?
Well, they specifically say they're limited to the drainage design relative to the proposed outlet, which is the storm scepter. It doesn't say anything in here about looking at the environmental impacts and meeting any other standards of, you know, what's recommended or not recommended, if there are standards even for oil, and nobody wants to see oil and salts and things discharged into resource areas. Probably not recommended to any zero amount, but there's no review of that and seems to be included in this proposal. So it seems to be strictly engineering, no environmental impact.
But I think that just mentioning the comparison of meeting the performance standards would be something that they'd want to include in this, because an environmental impact statement is like a specific, like, very intense report under NEPA. That they don't have to go through.
That they wouldn't have to unless it was specified. I'm wondering whether we want to ask them to do more, basically. I'm asking to the commission. Do we want to have the SC come back to us and say, okay, we'll include this as because we do want to make sure the storm scepter will function, so forth. I think we never said we.
Yeah, I think we need to ask them to have a look at it from
Wetlands impact.
well, from, you know, things that aren't necessarily solids.
Other contaminants,
Yeah.
oils, salts, things that would not be treated in the storm scepter. Everybody's agreed that, the engineers agree that it's meant to deal with sediments. and so forth.
Phosphorus loading, I mean, all that.
So the impacts to that need to be, I think, reviewed, and whether BSC can do that or is willing to do that, or can put something into writing to say how they would review that. I think we need to bring it back to them and have them do that portion if the commission agrees that that's important to do. If they don't, please speak up.
I think that's what, putting it in writing is what would probably be difficult for them, because I think it's a literature exercise. I don't think it's something that they essentially have to try to model, because there's so many variables of weather conditions, how much salt is applied to the road in a specific area, and then are we picking a specific section of the road that we're quantifying as this much salt is going into this drainage structure.
At this point in time, it seems that they're not even going to look at that. Not
Well,
even
they have-
attempt to modify it or narrative.
Right.
They have to look at the catchment area to do the engineering review, so they do know the area and the volumes. So they can,
That's just stormwater.
right, but they can extrapolate out what they think is gonna be in there during, I mean, they've done enough winter
We didn't ask them.
storms.
Yeah, I'm saying it would just be, again, literature exercise. It'd be.
Well, no, I'm actually
Based on
asking
a
for
lot
less
of-
literature. I'm actually looking for them to exercise environmental reporting capabilities of some sort. But I don't know what level of detail. You're right, there's all sorts of scenarios that could come up and so forth, but saying that if this is the situation, the road is going to handle this, like, the road is going to handle this amount of water from the engineering study. Included in that is understood to be certain other contaminants. The impact environmentally to this area, which is very sensitive, this is not going to be treated in materials going into, or chemicals and stuff going into there, of this type could have these negative impacts of blah, 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 blah. And some sort of environmentally based, scientifically based information being provided or service being provided, even asking them, can they do that? I don't know.
The performance standard.
Yeah.
No.
Performance standard, I don't know, other, Right, if they're fair enough to be even environmentally, but it doesn't seem that they're gonna,
Say,
Right.
we'll see if it meets the performance standards in this.
so we're gonna ask, are you saying that we need to ask BSC to state that they would be
They will
reporting on the level of ability to meet the performance standards that it has in this design? Is that fairly clear that we want to ask them?
Yeah.
Can you capture that?
I'm assuming they would have written it in that fashion anyway, but.
Yeah, it seemed,
I agree.
when I read it,
I
it looked
agree
like
that
it seemed to be excluding it, only looking at the structure.
Vague the way they write it.
Right. And if they can't do that, we have other options we can pursue and we can do that down the road, but I think we wanted. My sense was from the last couple of meetings about this, that we wanted to make sure the environmental impact was. We looked at carefully since we're doing something that was not originally planned, it was gonna be a detention basin behind Larry's, and that was ruled out for other reasons, and so. If this is the only other option.
What is the next step? Do we bring them back and explain it to us as a commission, or does Hannah do that, or?
I think I feel comfortable that if Hannah has a good sense of what we're looking for from them, she can reach out to BSC and see. If she can do this and they understand it, and if they don't. Then I mean, meet with them if they want to come back and talk about it more, or it would be an email to try to explain what it is we're looking for, but. To see if they provide that level of. Meeting the standards, performance reporting for environmental impacts, can they do that? And if so, what would that cost be and how would that change the scope of this proposal? So we're looking for, I think, a revised proposal from them and take it from there. I think if it needs another meeting or something and Hannah can't work that through that from, and so be it.
This can't be that unique of a request, what you're talking about. I mean, it's an environmentally sensitive area, and we just want to understand the impact that it would have.
Not just the engineering will. handle
Right,
the
exactly.
fault, but we'll
I mean, that has
deal
to be
with
a,
this.
not an unusual comment. Yeah, a question, right.
Yeah. Like before, or after, and then like.
Yeah.
And this is acceptable or not. Okay,
Right.
all right. So I think if the commission agrees that that's the direction we want to go and that we'll direct Hannah to and continue this. Keith, do you have, you've been overhearing this. Do you have any thoughts, questions, observations from your point?
No, I think that,
You
BSC.
see what we're looking for?
Yeah, I do, and I think that overall, what we're trying to propose here is something that provides an improvement to the stormwater that's currently discharging into that resource area untreated by putting in a unit, a proprietary unit that the town is equipped to maintain. And that does provide some of the oil separation and the TSS removal. That's what this unit is specifically geared towards. And I do feel as though BSC could speak to the benefits of that. And then also the other elements that really cannot be taken out of the stormwater, like the road salts that you mentioned in particular, it's just something once they're dissolved in the water, it's virtually impossible to separate them. But I feel like I'm comfortable with them making that determination and providing you with that kind of a summary of the efficacy of the storm scepter, basically telling you what the environmental impact or benefits will be provided from
Is
this.
that section of road, Keith, the same amount currently, the way it's currently draining, sorry, down the road? And as you said, discharging currently into the resource area via whatever, a storm drain or whatever. Is that exactly going to be the same amount of road as in the proposed revised roadway work with the storm scepter, or is more roadway being funneled into the storm scepter? More potential impervious surface than is currently flowing.
There is more potential roadway than what's current. It's a minor increase for the widening being done right at the entrance or the intersection with Hartford Avenue. So there is a slightly greater impervious area draining to that resource area. That is correct.
I'm not contesting at all that a storm scepter isn't better than just a storm drain that's not doing any kind of treatment, and some oil separation, as you phrased it, I'm not sure how much that means, is better than none, and certainly solid, getting sediment out is helpful. So while there may be some improvement, if we were discharging even more potential impervious area, as well as what it's been currently doing, and,
Mhm.
and that's gonna be the long-term solution for drainage in that area, meaning the impact will continue indefinitely for that resource area. I just think we need to understand the, environmental impacts of that if we're gonna.
Sure,
Okay.
Sure.
So does this need a motion or are we good to
We
just?
need to continue the hearing if we're going to do that, to at least the next meeting, I think.
Oh, I suggest November.
Okay. I'm
Because
following
currently-
the administrator's suggestion that based on your seeing what the last,
We had 5 already for next.
yeah, okay, then I think there's no reason not to push that back a little bit. It'll give us more time to deal with BSC, and I think that we need to, we'll keep moving it along. I think, well, engineering associates and
Maybe
DPW are
13th.
aware. Yeah, so. it's,
13th.
October, November 13th. Okay, I will
So moved.
accept the motion to move this hearing to continue. Thank you, Steve. To the,
Second?
you mean the
You
13th.
kind of have to wait for the motion.
And thank you, and seconded. Okay, all, any other discussion about that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, thank you, unanimous. Thank you. So that'll be continued until 7 PM on the evening of November 13th, Keith, and we will reach out to BSC and keep you posted on what they end up saying as far as a revised plan and so forth. Hannah can keep you posted on that.
that's great. And if they need anything, Hannah, just reach out to me and we'll give them whatever they need.
Sounds good, thanks.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, Keith.
Good night.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay. Next hearing is scheduled for, I'm sorry, is a new hearing that was scheduled for an ANRAD for 180 Payne Street, Rentham Road, Bound Road, 585 Rentham Road, which is confirming the demarcated boundaries of bordering vegetated wetlands, BVW, isolated vegetated wetlands, IVW, bank to intermittent streams and bank/mean annual high water mark, MAHW, to Bungay Brook. NECC Holdings is the applicant and Brian Madden, Valley Seeking Environmental Consultants is the representative. We have some new information about that hearing that I will let Hannah relate to us. Or
Yeah.
Rob, rather.
Yeah, I can
Rob, thank you, Rob.
yeah, there's a snafu with the legal ad on this one, so this is gonna have to be continued to have the first hearing on the October 23rd meeting.
October 23rd. Okay, yeah. All right, so yes, so legally, just for those that are in the room, if there anybody is in the room for this particular hearing, anticipating that we would be discussing it, we're not legally allowed to do so. If it's not been posted, that we violate our open meeting laws, by not having it, by having a discussion about a meeting that has not been posted properly and advertised in advance properly. So we apologize for the confusion if you came here for hearing for that, but we cannot legally discuss the meeting and review plans or anything like that without having had the formal legal advertised time period. So we will continue it, however, and you can anticipate that on the 23rd of October, we will for sure have advertised it in advance and properly be ready to discuss this project. And in the meantime, we will take a motion to continue it to the evening of 23rd of October at 7 PM. I'll take a motion. So moved. Neil, thank you. Second, Amy?
Seconded.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay.
Is that Brian then from?
Yep.
From,
What's it called? WS,
WS.
yes.
Oh, same Brian.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, so, any other, discussion? No, all in favor?
No, I was just gonna tell, if
Okay.
anyone is in a butter and they wish to look at the plans in general, we have them in our office, or they're online on the conservation website.
Yes, thank you. So, still need to have a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimous, thank you. Let's continue to the 23rd. All right, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the continued hearing for notice of intent off Lake Street, Prospect Street. It's called Prospect Hill Village. Construction of a 156 unit townhouse development, which will impact bordering vegetated wetland, bankland, underwater bodies and waterways, bordering land subject to flooding and riverfront area. Louis Petrosi from Wall Street Development Corporation is the applicant, and Paul McManus, Ecotech Inc. is the representative. So. We're gonna. And Paul is online. I see Paul. Welcome, Paul. Can you hear us okay?
I can, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I expect that Lou Petrosi, who's the applicant, I see, do I see Mr.
Yeah.
Petrosi in the corner there?
He is there, yes, you can see him.
Okay, thanks.
So who's gonna lead us off here?
Sure, thank you very much. Since we last met, back in August, a lot of things have changed regarding the proposal. And we've submitted revised plans, but before we get to the revised plans, I'm going to, we had Ecotech do an evaluation out on site, and several of the commission members were walked the site first week in September. Observed the stream channel to be dry in a non-drought season. So by regulation, the perennial stream that was shown on the USGS map is not perennial, it's intermittent, and therefore the front area that we spent quite a bit of time on is no longer riverfront area, so it's.
I'm not sure I understood that was the case, so I won't contest that at this point in time, but I do want to review that some more. I'm
Yeah,
not.
well, you know, Paul can speak to the regulatory aspects of it, but it's from our viewpoint, it's, you know, we feel pretty confident that what we've done and what was observed on the site clearly was dry channel. So with that in mind, as a preface to our discussion, we have since revised our plan for a number of reasons. I don't know if anybody can see that. For a number of aspects to it. So what we've provided now is a project with a primary access off of Prospect Street, with a secondary access off of Lake Street. It does require us to encroach at this point within another riverfront area in that particular location. As designed right now, it impacts about 13 or 14,000 square feet. But essentially the plan, as you may recall, previously had the secondary access along the northerly property line. There are issues that have been gradually being uncovered. One happens to be there's a police firing range in that is a little bit on our property. The regulations, from what I understand, and I'm not an expert on, but you need to be, if we allow the police to continue the firing range there, that you need to be 500 feet away from the residential building. So we decided to abandon that aspect of it and put our access out onto Lake Street. Other parts of the plan remain pretty consistent. The sewer line going down to the railway out to Blackmar Street and to Cross Street. Few of the members were out during the site walk. We walked down the railway, brought some photographs for the people who weren't able to attend. But essentially the railway, where the sewer line is going, is in most instances you can drive a vehicle down there right now. You can see that it's pretty clear. There's border and vegetated wetland on sides of it, but it drops off from the elevation of the railway itself. So that is what we're proposing to do for our sewer force main up to Blackmar Street and along those lines. One thing that we did talk about when we were on our site walk is that there is possibility after we do our work of whether or not this can incorporate this into your trail system. If you are familiar with where Blackmore Street comes out directly opposite the intersection on Cross Street is, I believe, the entrance to another portion of the trail system. So this could be an extension of that, going forward, and there is a possibility, down in this, oh, I think it's- well, this wetland crosses the railway in this location. There was an old trellis there at one time. The head wall is still there, about making that, you know, if it were going to be a walking trail, you need like a wooden bridge or something so that you can be able to continuous travel along that area. The other thing that we've added to the plan is that we've met with the water, the DPW. We've worked out to loop the water main down from this location on Lake Street, down Lake Street to the intersection of Cross Street where the water is currently located. So we will be looping the system through the development out, so it will be a pretty good enhancement to the water system. And then the third thing is there's an isolated wetland here in the site, in the middle of the site. And then those of you who've walked on the site know that there's a lot of gravel areas around the site, particularly down here along the wetland. There's quite a bit of gravel area. What we would like to do with the commission's blessings would be to replicate this wetland down along the stream bank, where currently there's it's been cleared and gravelly location, but that's strictly at the discretion of the commission. If the commission decides that they don't like that idea, then we would just move these units to another portion of the site, because it does allow us, we have a lot of room here to move the units around, but that's pretty much it. For the benefit of the alternatives analysis, we did prepare a brief alternatives analysis that I'll just go over briefly. Put you on the payroll.
These the ones we saw last time you were here, Lou?
Nope, completely different. So. And again, we're talking about strictly the portion of the site that we toward Blake Street. Since there's no riverfront area here in the other portion of the site, those alternatives are no longer necessary. The only alternatives analysis that is required is in this location here relative to that riverfront area. So we have three possibilities other than the preferred. The preferred is as shown on the plan. The second is to shift the roadway a little bit further west, closer to the wetland, and deepen the grading with permission from the planning board to change the grading and shifting this turnaround out of the, so that the grading would be outside the riverfront area. That seems to be the most practical alternative. The other alternatives involve moving the road and filling some wetland of this isolated wetland in here. And then the more extreme alternative would be to just completely circumvent that area riverfront by building a sort of horseshoe around the wetland and out. Again, that is up to the commission to decide. From an alternative standpoint, I think Paul would be able to go over the regulatory aspects of that, but we've talked about that before in terms of being economically equivalent to the preferred alternative.
Just to be clear on that last option, the top of that loop looks like on the sketch that you asked that it would be crossing over into the town of Bellingham owned property.
It's not meant to, that strip. I want to keep in mind that along that whole line is our railway. So it's just not shown on that, was not shown on that sheet. So up here, where we're talking about the loop going in here, that's not on town property, that would.
It's crossing on this.
Yeah, you know, it's
like
kind of tough, I mean,
It may just not be a very clear.
It's not quite.
It's not-
Yeah.
it's a layman's sketch, as you would call it, because I just try to create at least the alternative, so you can take a look at it, but we can certainly quantify that and have the engineer draw that out more clearly, so you know what the impacts are, but there's no intention to.
It's just you and a Sharpie and a crayon?
Yeah, mostly Sharpie. There's no encroachment onto town property. We have a railway there that's 40 feet wide. We have the ability to do that. These other alternatives include filling of wetlands or you're disturbing more buffer zone than what we would normally want to do for this kind of a site. So with that, I mean, I don't really have much else to say. We're prepared now at this point to at the commission's discretion to engage a peer reviewer. By the way, you know, at the last meeting, commission has asked whether or not this should be an amended filing or a new filing. So we did shoot an email off to DEP, and DEP responded back that it should be just an amended filing, which we're in the process of preparing over the course of the last 4 to 6 weeks. Paul was away on vacation. We had this new development with the riverfront area being no longer valid. So now we can prepare the amended notice of intent to incorporate the new aspects of this, and then we can re-advertise if you want, re-notify.
I think that was a suggestion by
Yeah.
DEP that
Yeah,
happened.
exactly. So, and I think the November date seems like we have plenty of time to do that. And I would just say that from a peer review standpoint, you originally had a proposal from BSC, which we made some comments on. Simply, they want to amend their proposal to take into this other side of the site. And then subject to obviously the comments that I previously made, you can get them going on that.
So the 6 alternatives that you proposed last time, or 6 plus, I think some other subjective ones. Those are not going to be part of the proposed peer review. So I'd like you to have, for Hannah's reference, a package that you want to have BSC look at as a total both septic portion, since you are combining and making this an amended or notice of intent, and the 3, I guess,
Yes,
proposed here, so that they are looking at the correct information and preparing their scope of work.
exactly.
All right, so once you provided that to Hannah, I think we might proceed
Okay,
with having BSC at least take an initial look at this and then see if they have questions or aren't clear on the scope, whatever, to make sure before they give us a proposal or a proposal that for the scope of work that includes that. And certainly if there's some environmental information that was gathered from previous project, which is valid, that could certainly be considered. They would know that because they did that review work. Okay, the commission members have questions, observations?
Yes,
Steve?
Ecotech's position is based on the fact that it was a non-drought period. Is that accurate?
yeah, the latest drought map was issued on September 9th. And the area was considered to be non-drought
By who?
by the Mass Drought Management Task Force that regulates these things, who decides under the regulations. If you would read the riverfront regulations, they are the ones that decide whether or not there's a drought or not. So in the package, the plan, the map is there that they post on their website. And it's pretty clear that that's who the regulations call for. But it's actually, you can go on pretty much any,
No, I'm reading what you, Davis.
yeah.
So I tried to look into it also. We went 28 days without rain.
That's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, so I was surprised when I saw that wasn't considered a drought, and I live in that area.
Yeah.
And Hogue eventually goes behind my backyard.
That's right.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't running when we went there, so, but it was wet, but it wasn't running.
The other thing is, just not to interrupt you, but this other riverfront, that is running. So.
Yeah,
So, and I guess, I have another site in Walpole that's running. And the 28 days of it's considered a normal season, believe it or not, the 28.
well, all right, it hasn't been for me, but like I remember it was sometime late in the
Fourth driest in
nineties was
history.
the only time I've seen it dry before. So,
I don't know what we just go by the regulations.
yeah, no, and I
And,
understand that.
and quite honestly, if you look at the record, the history there hasn't been a drought in Massachusetts since July of 2022. So we actually could have done this last year.
Sounds like you need to update your.
So this,
Well, we can definitely double check with DEP and make sure that they are in agreement with what has been stated by the applicant. We don't have to contest that at this point in time if we don't want to. Any other questions?
You want to talk about the title?
I believe I asked at the last meeting when you referred to the fact that the railway trail, the rail bed was purchased by you at some point in time to provide some documentation. I haven't seen that yet. Are you preparing to do so?
I did, I filed it.
Well, I was provided some information on what Hannah sent me, but it's not clear what, from my looking at it initially, that there is a clear statement of when it was purchased and why, because we have been told anecdotally and with some people that should know that property was owned, including the rail bed, by the town and the Conservation Commission. So if you purchased it, it's just a question of when did you purchase it and.
Well, just within the last 2 years, but if you want the full title report, you can have the full title report. I mean,
Just something I look at. I looked at stuff that was provided by Hannah that they came from
I think,
from you, and it was not, half of it wasn't readable, frankly, on the computer at all. I just was a blur.
so I think,
Needs to be clear, at least to read.
happy to provide the full title report.
That'd be helpful.
Honestly, we wouldn't spend our money if.
Sure, yeah, no, I'm sure you wouldn't be doing this if you didn't feel that was the case, but.
No, and when we acquired that property in the back,
Yeah,
it was understood that was the access at that time, and that's what we were getting as part of that package, so that's why we want to make very sure
yeah,
that
no,
we're.
I think if you look at, if you look at the deed that was conveyed to the town, it clearly delineates at the railway.
I didn't see it. I was looking for the word railway, I never saw it in there, but again, half of what I was looking at wasn't readable, so if you can send us stuff that is clear
Oh,
and simple, that'd be great.
I thought,
Appreciate that.
I thought what we had provided was sufficient, but we're
Yeah.
happy to provide the whole.
Yeah, no, that'd be helpful.
The whole title.
We just want to make sure we're very much all operating under the correct assumptions of things here. Not going to start with.
The other thing, keep in mind, just so I pointed out that, what you see here with the orange line is your 100-foot buffer zone. So we're pretty much outside the 100-foot buffer zone on everything.
I'll take your word for it. I can't see an orange line from here.
And except for this, like I said, this isolated wetland in here, but, it's, we're pretty much outside the 100-foot buffer zone on everything.
And Paul will be able to quantify the impacts on that isolated wetland and
Yeah.
and the replication.
Yeah, we have a calculation for that isolated wetland, and again, from when I look at it from the standpoint of what this is currently mostly gravel area in this area, it may be better to take this and do a nicer job to, double 2-to-1 replication along the river, along the stream bed. So,
And Paul will have all that in his package.
yeah, I think, he came back from vacation under the weather a little bit, so. What I've been shorthanded, let's say.
Okay.
He probably had to go to another meeting, but But anyhow, that's kind of it, and, I'll work with Hannah to get like a scope of what peer review, and then maybe at your next meeting, you can take it up and get him going for sometime at the next meeting in November.
Consider that. I'll ask anybody in the room here who is here for this particular hearing and has a question, if this is an opportunity as an abutter or a neighbor or something, if you're an interested party, you would like to raise a question, I'd open that up to the people in the room here. Anybody? So I'll speak now or forever, hold your silence, but I just want to make sure you had an opportunity if you're here for this, and we're hoping to get a word in or a question in for the applicant or ourselves, that's an opportunity.
And this is going before the planning board tomorrow?
Tomorrow night will be in front of the planning board, public hearing. We advertise public hearing notification to all of others.
First time before planning on this
On this
particular
plan, yes.
proposal?
Yes, yes.
Any other questions from commission members?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's-
Where are you with access from Franklin?
We're,
That's all been settled?
I don't know, I don't know that there's anything to settle
Oh, okay.
from our perspective, so.
I thought from the town of Franklin's perspective, there was.
Well, they have a concern, they've expressed a concern, but they haven't filed an
Oh,
appeal.
okay.
All right, if we have no other questions, then we are going to be looking to continue to the, I think it was mentioned for November date, so that would be the 13th.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question? Do you need a, continue this and open a hearing in order to discuss the peer review? And in which case, I don't know that you, in other words, if we have a peer review proposal for your next meeting, the 20-something, should you just have like it on the agenda just so you can vote it, prove it, so that they can get rolling on it? That's all I'm saying.
Well, we would want to look at it and discuss it, at least technically you approve it because you're paying for it, so. That part of it would take place outside of meeting. Generally, we don't ask the applicant during a meeting, I don't think, to approve a peer review or not per se. But your point is valid that if we haven't had a chance to review the proposal, and it is ready at the next meeting, if the commission wants to take the opportunity to be able to discuss it, I think we would have to put it on the agenda.
To discuss it, we would probably have to have.
Right, yeah. So the question is, do we think BSC will have something in 2 weeks for us and we don't know?
Well, do you think you're gonna have that
Back of
complete in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Well, he'll need a lot.
Or
Well,
less
even-
than a week?
I think next week we'll have, I mean, the scope is what you have, what we've submitted is really essentially the project. You have the alternatives, you have the sewer, you have the project, revised plans, so they're really dealing, and the planning board is reviewing the drainage so that that's a separate entity, so it's really, they've already reviewed the wetland line for the most part during the previous application. We had an INRAD on this section, so.
Excuse me, just a second. Bob, you've engaged somebody from planning side for engineering study?
Yeah, from the peer review side on this project, we've had the engineering stormwater peer review conducted. Of course, this is a revised submittal, so it's not closed out yet, but they have been initiated. There's other portions, there's also the traffic, which has not been initiated yet, and then, there's also, well, there's some other, the sewer, peer review, which actually that just came in recently.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
question. So, Lou, have you settled on a design or are you
No, this is-
presenting multiple options
No.
to?
This is it, this is the design.
With the alternatives only on one portion of it that you'd like to have.
Right. So, this is the design.
It's a design, but it's not a fully complete design because there are 3 alternatives on one portion. Right?
We don't have a copy of this, correct?
No, you do. This is a full-size set of plans and you have reduced copies here.
You don't have it in your hands yet, Steve. He's just got us here today.
You just don't have the alternatives in a separate thing, but the whole plan, the complete revised plan is right there. Those are reduced copies. Everything is here.
Big plan, yes, the little stuff, no.
This front page of the
be
alternative
a
is what
previous
shows up
meeting.
on the big plan.
Correct,
right?
correct.
So this first page is what is their proposal. So
And
the
the
front
other thing,
pages
that
are
the stuff
all-
goes in the portal, is that the big plans have been added to the portal as part of the package there.
So if you want to take a reduced copy, you can, the reduced copies here for you, and then,
I've got what's in the portal in front of me.
okay. So the preferred alternative is.
I don't wanna engage with peer review until we hear from DT and with that the amended has been given.
Right.
to them, You know,
Right, I think that we don't, and plus, which I was gonna ask you, this is another one to add to the, 20. Or that, in addition to the ones you already there, yeah, which could.
Well, if we're just discussing here, we're just discussing.
Discuss peer review versus we didn't get it, because that could be an option, it could
Well,
be,
then-
yes, he's not ready.
Yeah, if.
Actually, I think to discuss, I don't think we need to actually have a hearing. We can just put it on the agenda, but we don't have to have a hearing to discuss the peer review because we're not voting on peer review.
Right, to review it though, it's more the matter of time, I'm thinking, if she's saying we have a very full meeting already. There are two options, one, the BSC says, we're not ready, we won't have something in 2 weeks for you, we backed up, whatever, we won't have a proposal for you to review at your meeting, in which case. We could just pass over it, or. We would have time set aside on the agenda potentially,
10,
one
15
minute,
minutes.
10, 15 minutes, and we would just have to restrain ourselves and keep that, and if it needs to go beyond that, then we continue to the next meeting.
We restrain ourselves,
I'm using a collective term, while looking around the table.
like the royal.
I just throw that out so you have an opportunity to do it, and if it's not here, you just continue it to the third, whatever we. The next meeting.
All right, I'll, see what's the, I don't know which year of the commission, I'm gonna put it on the agenda for 15 minutes to be on the 23rd. If BSD is ready with something for us, if they're not, we certainly would pass over it. And continue on to the 13th of November with it, and if they do have something, we could discuss it for a few minutes and then still continue it if we have need to do so, or get back to BSD with more stuff or whatever. Something you all want to do?
I think it takes 5 seconds for us to just continue it.
Okay.
So are we propose, is the motion to continue the hearing to the evening of October 23rd?
Correct. With the intent being then in this case that we're just gonna.
But we don't need a hearing,
Need to make a space for it in the.
but that doesn't need to be a hearing.
Well,
That just needs to be put on the agenda like that here.
Throw it on the other business.
other business.
Yeah, so that's just throwing it on other business because we're not gonna be discussing the project.
You want to sleep on the other business, then we don't need a motion. Okay,
But you do need a motion to continue to
continue
November.
to November 13th, right? So I will accept a motion to continue this hearing. For this notice of intent, which will be by the 13th, ready for an amended version?
Yes.
Okay, which we may see an amended version on November 13th, but for now, as is stated, this notice of intent to the evening of November 13th at 7 p.m. Someone, second anyone? Second, Ariane, any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, so will be continued for Lake Street Prospect Hill Village to evening officially of November 13th and 7 p.m. And
Thanks very much.
thank you.
Good night.
And then members can certainly take advantage of either full set of plans or a smaller set of those leaving there. Souvenirs will be given to Rob.
Yes.
Okay.
Heard my name.
Anything nobody wants.
he said all extra papers and yours.
Sure.
Roadkill.
For sure. Okay, thank you. All right, we will continue with the next hearing, which is a notice of intent for Candlelight Lane, parcel C. Construction of an earthen berm within 100 foot of the buffer zone to DVW. Southern Center Realty LLC out of Milford is the applicant, and Dale McMinnon, sorry, is the applicant's representative.
Oh, sorry, I was writing notes.
No problem.
would you, they emailed me last
They're
week.
still waiting.
Yeah, they haven't given me any information.
So they're, last I heard, they were waiting for scope peer review. I think that was what you put in the notes. No.
This is kind of like, no,
Yeah, no.
this is, they need to work with the abutters.
That's weird. That was-
Yeah.
Wasn't a peer review.
So they're still working, they're
Try
still
to-
working offline to,
Try
Come
to
up
get
with
the
some-
best
come up
solution
with
with the
something,
drainage
yeah.
option,
Right,
which,
right.
as we all agreed.
Yeah,
uh,
okay.
is the best option. Okay, so that's fine, we're working on it. Looking to continue for any particular time, do we know?
I
Yeah,
believe they asked, yep, I have him on for the 23rd. That's what they
Yeah,
asked.
they are trying to, so, one second.
do we think that's reasonable or?
I mean.
If
you
they have
did
progress,
say-
great, if they.
Yeah.
I actually have I'm working on setting up a Zoom call with them regarding, it's actually overarching,
Drainage issues,
drain
Around town?
overarching roadway, because they're.
were that part of the town or just the town overall ones and they're one of many?
No, just in.
For this specific thing, what I mean by overall, the whole reasoning for this is because they're trying to look for roadway acceptance and bond reduction through their subdivision process. So I'm trying to set up, we haven't picked a time yet, but I should have more of an update is what I'm getting at next week, when I have a chance to speak with them. So, and I can urge them to come to this next meeting if you want to do it. It's the 23rd.
Hmm.
To
They
just give
asked
an
for the
update.
23rd.
Yep, so there is movement.
Okay, they're working on it, that's some, excuse me, a chance to move this project along.
So do we need a motion to continue to the evening of the the 23rd of October?
That's what the applicant has requested, so yes, we would like to do that. I will accept the motion to continue this hearing for Kimberley Lane Parcel C to the evening of October 23rd at 7 P.M.
So moved.
Neil, second, anybody?
Second.
James, thank you. And have discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, great.
Paul, if you can hear me, your hearing is over.
Okay, thank you. I got cut off here and just got on. I'll get a status report from Mr. Petrosi in the morning, I'm sure.
I'm sure you will.
I'm sure you will.
Thank you. Good luck. Have a nice day.
All right, thanks for letting me know. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Very conveniently offline.
Okay.
Could have made him just stick around for a while. It's torture.
Oh.
Well, we won't do that.
Oh, that wouldn't be fun, would it? Oh.
So, we'll continue with the next item on the agenda, which is a continued hearing for a notice of intent for 175 North Street. Construction of the single family dwelling, septic system, barn and utilities. James McGrath is the applicant and William Hawkins of Land Planning Inc. is the representative. Nice. Gentlemen, thank you. Bring us up to speed on where we are with this, but I believe we were going to.
Yes. I just got that back today. Did I forward it to you guys or no? I don't
Something
think-
new today, but.
Okay, yeah, I got it later.
I don't remember.
I got it at 12 o'clock today. I don't think I sent it to you.
Mhm.
So it has been completed. You have not seen it yet,
Okay,
and I'm guessing you guys haven't seen it either.
I've seen.
The peer review.
No,
No, okay,
the proposal for the peer review, not the actual peer review. itself.
no, the peer review.
Okay, for sure.
Okay, so you walked the site, was it last Friday?
Yes.
And they agreed with the wetland line.
Yep, there's a little snafu because just some of the flags were faded and old. They refreshed them, they went back out. There's wetland A and B
Faded flags.
because they were from a bit ago. I'm just standing here for you guys.
If anyone in the room is here for this project and can't see that board, no, I'm asking, let me see, it may not be anybody here. Let us know, and we can either have you shift over so you can see it, or we'll shift the board. Anybody? No? Okay. Certain.
Okay, so comment one, it says the project as proposed has no direct impact on jurisdictional wetland resources, but requires 48,040 480 square feet of buffer zone alteration to state and local jurisdiction. BSC is concerned about the likelihood of the project resulting in alteration of the adjacent wetland resources. That was comment one.
Oh.
I'm scrolling down. She put in, the laws and the regulations that match it, so. Comment two. BSC finds that the project as proposed is reasonably likely to result in alteration of wetlands due to the extent of work proposed within regulated buffer zones on the site. The WPA regulations and the bylaw regulations establish that the applicant has a burden of proof to demonstrate by a preponderance of the credible evidence that work proposed in a notice of intent will not result in alterations of the adjacent wetland resources and that the work will contribute to the protection of the interests identified in acts, blah, blah, blah. That was a very long sentence. Okay, comment three says the narrative does not sufficiently describe the existing conditions of the site and the wetland resource areas on the project site and should include descriptions of the site characteristics, dominant plant communities and the resource areas, including buffer zone, vernal pool characteristics, and any other information that will allow the complete review of the wetland resource areas present. Okay. The map should show the limits of national heritage priority and estimated habitat, potential vernal pools, certified vernal pools, and indicate existing trees of 10-inch caliber or greater where work is proposed within upland resource areas. Do you want me to just keep reading?
Well, how many more are there?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. 18.
18
Yeah.
points? Okay, so let me pause for a second here because I don't think I want to hear 18 points total. Prior to moving in another direction. So we have obviously a peer review. We haven't looked at it. You haven't looked at it. This sounds like there's quite a bit to it. What would the applicant like to do? Would you like to provide some more information tonight about where you put the board up and had intent to say some stuff, obviously, but knowing that there's a peer review that's going to involve some sort of responses.
We should continue where we have it.
Right, I think so too. I just want to make sure there wasn't something urgent or changing, like you're changing the scope suddenly or something like that. That would definitely, I want to give you an opportunity to bring that up. Okay, yeah, I think based on the fact that we have a lot of stuff that we're going to look through, we should continue this and make sense to the applicant as well. So I think that we want to all proceed in a way that makes sense, both parties. Without continuing to discuss this, we're hearing some additional 14 or 13 points. As well as they might be read. Thank you.
Yes, lovely reading voice.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
We want to stay awake tonight. No, we want to get through tonight. So I will say this is not planned for one of the 23rd ones, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Russ, are you?
Yeah, I would want the 23rd anyway, so we kind of have to time to address.
Fine, that's fine. That's good, thank you. I just wanted to. So I will accept a motion to move. I will accept a motion to move this, continue this hearing to the evening of November 13th at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Second, Don, thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, unanimous. Thank you very much. So 13th, whatever it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I
Thank you
just
very much.
sent it to you. So enjoy them. Bedtime reading.
Yeah.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
Good
you
luck.
very much, Mr.
Quick for an old man.
Oh,
Yeah, when I collected and sent it to you this way, yeah, that's the.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
I would.
So.
Thanks. Don't start until it starts. Okay, we will, you have any idea why everyone else is on the ring, because I don't think they're here for this particular.
Other business.
Okay, other.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
Yep.
All right. I didn't miss anything. I've been offering people opportunities to come up to see, but nobody's taking me up. I'm like, okay, it must be looking at other business. Okay, So we have one more item on the agenda before we get to other business, and that is the notice, consider hearing for a notice of intent for 38 South Maple Street. Repair of subsurface sewage disposal system within the resource area. Mr. Silva, I'm talking to the president first. Sorry. Land Planning Inc., I'm sorry, is the applicant, and Land Planning Inc. Bill. So you provided some more information which was in the portal for members to see. You want to summarize where we're at?
Yeah, I think we addressed all the comments at the last meeting, except for one, to show the 500-foot flood zone, which I've highlighted on the plan. And I did send Hannah a copy of said plan 2 days ago.
Yep, that should be.
Was there anything else that the members remember from this?
Yeah, I took a walk there the next day.
Yep.
I just missed you, but I told it over friends that I went there. Just to take a look at the wetlands, that if you could see, remember there was a question, here's one of the photos of the walkway that he wants to improve between the barn and the house, and standing at the house that he's working on. That's a picture of what's currently there. I walked on either side, you know, I'm not a soil expert, but it's interesting. I didn't see anything that looked moist or wet or what I would have called a wetland until I got well beyond those pines.
To the left,
And
you
down
mean?
low. To the left,
Down beyond the tire?
No,
That's
that's
the
not a tire.
It's not a tire?
That's a well.
That's the wellhead.
Oh,
Yeah.
it looks like a tire.
It
So I was gonna
does.
say that
Well,
it's
we're so
definitely a
used to
well.
seeing tires everywhere we go.
Did you get a picture of between the house, the walkway that we were talking about with the raised?
This is the walkway.
That's it.
That's the.
I thought you
that's
said
the
this is
walkway.
between here and the barn. I thought that the other on
No,
the plan.
no, that's,
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
that's the walkway between the house
So
and the
this is
barn.
the one that they're proposing putting more in and putting an 8-inch culvert underneath?
Yes.
Where would the culvert be going in this picture? Is it visible where the area would be that you're gonna be
It'd be
putting?
the low point, and this is a pretty flat area.
Yeah, it's very.
So if you look maybe about 8 feet this side of the well, probably around it,
About where that stick is maybe?
closer to us, I think.
See where that stick that goes across, like
Right
somewhere
there.
around there?
Yeah.
So you're gonna be going across the walkway with an 8-inch and exiting out where the pines are? That looks like it's downhill a little bit. but I
It
can't
is
tell.
just, it's slight, it's a
Slight.
slight grade.
Right, and it grades on the other way, the other side. So
Yes.
that's part I can't tell. It looks so flat on that side. I
Right.
didn't think I was looking at the walkway because that seemed on the plans,
Yeah.
at least to have been more of a raised area. And you were proposing putting in some additional landscape ties to raise that up even more?
Yeah, just to bring it up so it's.
So another wall of
Wetland.
landscape ties, basically tracks like this on both sides with.
It's right on top.
You
So-
probably remove those. They look a little,
They could be removed if.
they look a little,
I can replace them.
they look a little
So
tattered.
you're putting landscape ties on either side, but are you putting like boards on top to walk on?
No,
Gravel.
gravel.
Oh, it's gravel fill, okay, wasn't sure, I know if you put landscape ties there, you wouldn't just keep walking on the dirt in between them, okay. So it's gravel walkway with landscape ties on either side, not a raised walkway boardwalk kind of thing.
Yeah, so
Okay,
we don't add any impervious.
And then you definitely would have to have drainage underneath, I think, for potential, even if it is a minor amount of wetlands on one side and potentially nothing on.
Yeah.
If you walked it on the other
Yeah.
side. Just for flow, because the elevation seemed to indicate that. The question is, I think somebody may raise the question last time, was 8 inches big enough for what we needed to ensure that you didn't get water backing up on both sides, but
Yeah.
we didn't have a visual.
Might even be
picture.
overkill, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, I almost think it's overkill, but I think it makes sense.
okay.
So how far, where does the water, the wetland begin?
You can't even see it, like between, to the right of that, it just goes. Maybe like on the map, it shows a little bit of wetland, but when you're there, it just goes right to South Maple Street.
It's that.
It just dips
it's
down
that
a
area
little bit.
between the walkway and the street.
Yeah,
No, I know what it shows in the map.
yeah, but
In
no,
reality,
in reality, I wouldn't have, it's covered in leaf litter, it doesn't.
it's not there.
It's not in that picture. I don't think the area that we're talking about is not visible in that picture.
Right, it's not visible in that picture. I didn't even think of taking a picture of it because it just looked like.
It's right behind it. It's right behind the well. That's right in front of the garage there. You can see it's grass. It's all maintained. Like you can see from here, you see between the two trees by the right, by the right side. That's the driveway that goes up to the street, to the main road right there. So there is a road there to the garage goes in
But it
and
just dips down and then
dips
goes.
down and like,
And that's
like,
where
like
it's-
we talked about it last meeting, through the years, the people that sold me the house, I'm friends with them, and they told me that there was a garage, there was car inside there when about the place, like we took the cars out. There was all livable space, wasn't wetland existing there. Through the years, took it over a little bit, and that's where,
Just got wetter over the years.
so right over the years, yes.
Construction across the street.
Well,
Right now, yeah.
Push all the water to me, which is, it happened. I bought the house, that's my concern now to, fix and make it somehow manageable for me access for that garage and make the good use of it.
Are you gonna take any soil out before you put the gravel in?
Might scrape some of the vegetation off, but there's gravel underneath there.
Yeah.
Already.
Just silted up and grassed over kind of.
Yeah.
Yep.
It hasn't been used for a while.
Additional questions? Concerns? Points?
Has the Board of Health signed off yet? They hadn't last meeting.
There you go.
They have approved the septic plan.
And we have both the DEP and the Bellingham number, which are great. Enough wait for those. Anything else that we were waiting for Hannah on this?
Did you get a mitigation plan,
Yes, that's the only thing is,
plan?
unless I'm not remembering this correctly, we weren't gonna get a 2-to-1, correct?
Yeah, we asked to do a little better than 1-to-1 because we're ripping down a forest just to do that. And there's a lot of value in leaving trees, I think. We had discussed that last time.
The limits on the site, I think I remember that coming up, that trying to do 2 for 1 would have been a lot. Digging up trees, digging up trees to make wetlands, which not a good trade.
Like putting solar panels?
Yeah.
Wait, sorry.
Not that.
That's a good idea.
No, don't go there.
So I guess what I was getting at is like making sure that everyone was on the same page and approving of waiving that. Is, right, because that's our
Yes.
regulation.
Yeah.
Because that is in the proposal.
Yeah.
And, everyone was satisfied with any erosion control barriers, for example, when you're doing the scraping of the soil for the gravel road, as well as obviously the septic system, when you're installing that, you got the erosion control information up there on the site and the plans, I believe, included,
And
so.
we would have Rob or somebody inspect that prior to construction. As per normal operating procedure.
Off the back of the house, you note a concrete block wall to be removed. And it's in the wetlands on the other side of the siltation. How are you removing it?
going
It's
over
really
picking-
like, I think, if we talk about this, it's little blocks, cement blocks,
So you're just gonna walk in and pick them up?
pick them up, yeah.
It does, it's funny you described it as a wall, because
Yes.
it's just a linear pile.
What I explained to him, I didn't wanna, go there and do it.
Yeah, it's just somebody,
blocks.
It's just
yeah,
a little cinder block,
it's a linear
You
pile.
don't need a skid steer or anything.
No. I can,
Just
I
some
can do it with my kids.
Just some,
Yeah, it could be done in
pick your
blocks,
kids to
20
it,
minutes.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's something that, it's small and,
Builds character.
Okay.
In fact, thank you for taking, when you remove it,
yes,
I could have walked over and started
I
grabbing.
know. I told Bill, he told me the same, but I thought, I said, it's.
I'm only kidding.
You just leave it until.
They say,
No,
say,
I-
leave it, yeah, he told me to leave it.
All right, any other questions?
So are we wanting someone to monitor the mitigation? Am I putting that kind of stuff in the word?
That's a good question.
Yeah, they should be providing us reports. We probably want it to stand at least a couple growing seasons. And
Yeah.
assuming it's obtained, the majority of its what was planted, then we can issue the COC.
Most of the time we've done 3 because it kind of aligns with.
Yep.
If that's okay with
Yeah.
everyone.
I can stand anytime.
Okay. I think
We'll
that's
keep,
all on my
we'll
list.
keep as many standards as we can, given the constraints of the. site.
Okay.
But we are gonna get a plan for the plantings, correct? Do we have one or? are we
It's just seed mix.
Just a seed mix?
Yeah, because we're not taking out actually any plants.
Okay.
So it'll all re-veg and probably get a lot of stuff going in.
Wait, what's there right now? Where are you planning to mitigate?
It's just gonna get regraded.
What is there right now, though? Oh, you're gonna
Trees.
regrade it, so you're gonna.
It's trees. It's gonna
Most of
get
them is
dug out.
dead. I
Dead
don't know if you
trees.
could see it, it's,
Yeah.
half is just leaning, against the, you know,
Probably
the
because the
garage.
roots got too.
Yeah, that's what it looked
Yeah,
like.
the
Shade there, yeah.
The only reason I asked, because you said you're just gonna throw leave stuff on top, and I was like, wait, what's already there?
After regrading.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was what I was looking for.
It's all in the, narrative.
Any other questions, observations? Comments? Okay. Hearing none, I will accept a motion to close the hearing for 30 South Maple Street and issue an order of conditions as per our discussion and Anna's notes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Tom, thank you, and then thank you, Marianne. Second, any other discussion?
You just get Hannah a list of the seed mix that you're using.
It's in the.
Oh, it's in there
report,
already?
yeah.
Great, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you, unanimous vote. All right, gentlemen, thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Have a good night. Take care.
21 days. I can get you the, order conditions.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
No, I'll be there, not.
All right, let's take care of the minutes. Look through all. Anybody have any comments about the September 25th minutes? Comments on any, they're very brief, obviously, so. Wasn't a lot really there. Anybody have any comments? If not, I'll accept the motion to accept the minutes for September 25th as posted. Second, anybody? Keith, yes, sure. Second, all right. Keith. Any discussion now? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. So minutes are accepted. Hannah, you're on 8 Farm Street, CC.
This is Cristiano. He was here last meeting talking about his own personal property, but he also was the, contractor who flipped 8 Farm, and he's just trying to close out the, septic that they did there. So I went out there probably almost a month ago. I went out there September 11th. But we were just making sure that everything was good on the applicant engineering side before I issued mine, so. If anyone has any questions before signing it, we're gonna sign it in ink because it's registered land and there's been some weird stuff with the,
E-documents, things,
Yes.
.gov. Okay, very good.
Okay.
Any other questions about 8 Farm Street and the COC?
yes.
COC. Any other questions about vision? Okay. All right. So we'll just sign off on that.
Actually, I do think you have to vote.
Do we have to vote?
I was randomly
Yeah, we have to vote to accept. it.
relearning things.
Yeah, we have to vote to accept it.
That's true. Okay, so I'll accept the motion to, like, close the hearing because we didn't really have a hearing on it per se, but then there are other business. To, sign, accept and sign the, 8 Farm Street COC. Certificate of completion. Is that certificate of compliance? or
Certificate of compliance.
Of compliance, thank you. Certificate of compliance.
I only do that because I have.
Yeah. Okay. Any other, anybody want to make a motion to second that, please?
Some.
Second.
Okay,
Ariane, second.
Ariane seconding, okay, very good. All right, any other discussion about it? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, so thank you much. So we'll pass that around, sign it while we're doing that. We'll talk about the Red Mill order of conditions. Extension request 105-900 and 105-910. At one point in time in the information was provided in the packet and the portal, it indicated that one of the extensions was for the road behind town hall coming up, and the other seemed to be,
Yes.
I assumed, for the project itself, but I didn't see that stated. I maybe missed that.
On. State
And the
Law,
actual document reading, when looking at them, what was included, one of them, I think, included something about, or in the narrative about it, included, this was for the road. And I was like, okay, that was the road. The other one must be for the whole project. Did they want to extend that too, because the road and the project were tied together? But I didn't see it saying the project anywhere, or X many townhouses. There's no
Yeah.
descriptor in there. And I
um,
think that may be a problem legally. I don't want you guys to get into issues with, You're here for this, right? Okay. I don't want you guys to get issues with this requesting an order of condition extension when it doesn't say, it appears at least on one of the documents, what the extension is for. It, one says the road, I think, and the other one, I believe,
Just the letter that we wrote to the commission?
No, I think on the actual document, the actual form, it's like I'm looking at, there's a section there to describe it, I believe, and one of them was blank, and the other one, I believe, it said, this is for the road behind town hall. I could be misremembering it, I'm not looking at the actual
It's
document,
literally
but I
right
did read it at the time, and I said, whoops, something might be wrong. So let's just take a look at that before we proceed, if we can.
Which one's that? That one's,
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. This one is the.
This is the 900 one, and this is the 9.
There's two copies of each.
Okay,
I
good.
can look it up.
Oh, there's a couple copies.
Two copies of each.
Why not? I'm just not aware.
That's what's on the floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one says Mill Street, Common Street Connector Road, that was the one I saw, and the other one says just 286 Red Mill on the Charles. Oh, okay, that says definitive
The
subdivision.
definitive subdivision.
On this, but this is not the actual. I was looking at the actual form here, but maybe I'm
The
gonna
original
take a
form.
second and look at it, and maybe just there was a section on it that was blank, maybe it wasn't. Applicant, property owner, all conditions. I want to compare this to the one that's in the road, but that's not on the road. This one says no Charles and road. Yeah. This might be right.
This one says. Six North and there's no place on the neck of the road. This is the one side. It's the first.
Oh, yeah, 6 North Main Street, Main Common, okay, so that one's there, now I'm looking for that on the same page of this other one to see if that's also in the project location, see that says North Main Street, that's the road. I don't think I've got it on the other one, I just want to make sure it's got the information it needs, and I'm arguing that it shouldn't say. It doesn't even look like the same one. Oh, yeah, here, project Mechanic Street and Mill Streets, it's way further in. Red Mill on the Charles 51. Why is it on the Charles 51, is the 51 significance on it?
If you want the assessors.
Oh, plot number, sorry.
But I don't know, understand why this doesn't reference the permit. Or am I just missing it?
Oh, yeah, that was the other thing too.
In this form, it doesn't it's not referencing that,
Yeah, I know,
That
like it's not written.
right, it's not like,
Are there different book?
the file, yeah, the file number's
Different
not,
book and page.
that's why the file number's not there.
That was just clerical
Oh, okay.
error, like from Ann, I guess.
Oh.
The other one does have it.
Because to
On the
to
re-
extend it, it should reference that file number so that everything
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
lines up, so that would have to be added.
Don't
Exactly.
work out.
What?
Doesn't look like it's referencing the same book and page number.
Cause they're two different.
Two different, no, they're two different laws.
So it is,
There's
it's in
two
Norwalk.
separate orders of conditions and we're extending one of them.
No, you're extending,
Oh,
we're
oh,
requesting
alright.
to extend both.
I just wanted to make sure that in the actual document, I didn't see
I thought it
that.
was one order and we were extending one order, so I was very.
Oh, okay, no,
No, there's
one project, two,
two orders.
yes,
Can't tell because they're not.
Yeah, the work at Mechanic and Mill Street, yeah, that's the one I
two
think that is.
extensions.
Mechanic and Mill Street, I think that's the actual project. As opposed to 6 North Main Street, Mill Street, Common Street Connector Road for Red Mill Project 45. So the 51 one, yeah, that's the project, and 45, assessor's plot plan number is for the road. But, other than misspelling Norfolk, which I guess people in Norfolk feel some about.
Well, we'd have to, that has to be fixed.
But making sure that that missing. Did we decide we were missing something?
Yeah,
The file number on which, on this one. Oh, yeah, the file number, so 1/2.
So we can't match apples to apples here.
Oh, yeah, got that, that's one missing.
So,
Which one is
Provided
the
by
one
the
missing
DEP.
it, 910 or 900?
9/10.
Okay, because I'm wondering, so 910 is the one that's already been extended before, that's what I
We
understood.
extended in 2021, I believe, on my signature.
So this will be the second extension for this one, and I wonder if we didn't get. Because this would be the third. Oh, see,
Well, we
Date of issuance
No.
was 10/19/2021. I was one of the people who signed it back then, for the commission, there are 4 of us.
that's it. That's an extension though, right?
I thought this was our first time.
No, this order is valid for 3 years unless otherwise specified.
No, that was the first, that was.
So the first one was
this is the first
2021.
Extension.
So this is the
Correct.
first
Yeah.
extension since 2021. It was a 3-year extension from until October 19th. I'm sorry, on October 19th of 2021, we signed it. So it's 3 years, which basically is October 19th of this year is extended till, and so they're looking for extension for another 3 years.
Correct.
Beyond this to 2020.
Let's go.
Yes.
Okay.
Trying to get the dirt out of there, trust me.
Yeah. There's another stuff. Okay, so, what can we not do legally, or can we do legally if we don't have a DP file number on the actual WPA form? That matter, can we have them after the fact, or are we?
This, that doesn't.
I wrote this in.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know, because that was like, we don't, are you,
On with Norfolk, I don't know how much we have to correct these things to get them right, so that we don't sign off on now and have it not be legal, and then you
Right,
guys
but
have to come back and.
I don't see why, this is a form that, you're talking about the WPA Form 7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that.
So this is a form that we can, I don't see why we can't add the DEP number to it, because we're filling this form out. And then this is the form that you sign if you approve the extension. It's
Right.
just, you can, I don't see why you can't add the DEP number at the top. We filled this out. There's nothing's been,
Yeah, we can just add the file.
I don't.
don't see why you can't.
I'm not disagreeing, I just want to make sure we're all clear on what we're gonna do or not do, and so.
And I think, did you already put it in? You already,
yeah.
yeah, she already added it to the forms that you're gonna, if you approve
Well, that's
the
not-
extension.
See, what we're looking at doesn't have it on it, so we
Correct.
don't know that you already added that on.
This is a brand new document. There's a different document for extensions. So I wrote it in. Great.
And
That's
what
fine.
about Norfolk?
Okay.
Did you fix the spelling of Norfolk?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
so
now
we have
Norfolk.
corrected documents, okay, great, that's what we needed to know, okay.
So did we fill out the wrong forms? Well, we took it, yeah, so my name's Peter Lavoy, I work with DNL Design Group, we took this project over from Alan. So we are the representative for Lovisa Building for the project.
Because during the initial one, I believe I had to recuse
You
myself.
do.
Because,
Or you were
yeah, I
gonna
was
say,
working for the environmental firm that worked with Allen Engineering. It's been well over 1 year, which is I think the limit that I have, so I think I should just.
Oh, okay. I don't know that rule. I haven't ran into it yet.
I run into it all the time.
It's been over a year.
Like-
It's a different representative.
Yeah. It is the same project. It's just
Yeah,
like
and then he needs you to sign that. So, like, you don't
making
sign
that
it.
known.
Do you maybe just want to say
So are we-
why?
Are we signing these or we're
not
gonna sign them
these,
online?
she's,
No,
We're gonna sign them online, right?
They're right here. That is their request.
Okay.
and
Okay.
this is the,
But shouldn't they say why they're requesting? I guess they have the letter. That's fine too, but
yeah.
they're
you-
here.
Why don't you take a second, since you're both sitting here, and just say why you'd like to request the extensions, it's, took the time to come in. give you a chance
Okay,
to-
so, on 105-910, that's the subdivision. Basically, the erosion control has been installed and inspected by the old conservation agent. They have started removing the material to get it to the proposed grades. And that's basically where they are right now, so we're not, we started the project, it's just taking longer to get the project going, so that's why we're requesting.
But you have commenced work.
We have commenced work, yes, if you go out there, you can see that.
That's an important distinction that you have
Yes.
commenced.
Yep, no, we have started work, and then on 105-900, as you can tell, if you look out in the back of the town hall, there's nothing that has been started on that portion of the project, so. But that's, it's still valid, and we still want to construct it for the town, I guess, and so we need that extension. That, the 900 has not been started. No work has been started for that.
Roadway.
The roadway, correct.
What you're doing for the town.
Just because you're waiting on 910?
Correct. I guess it's in phases. The project will be in phases, so I guess this is, I think, the third phase or the second phase of the project, and right now they're working on the first phase, getting that, the area where a portion of Road A, Road B, and Road C they're trying to get that to the proposed grade.
Is this part of the massive yet unquantified amount of gravel and stone that's gonna come out of that site? In the correct days?
Yes, yep.
And go up, turning north only on, from Mill Street up Main Street up.
That was a-
Beautifully newly paved road.
Yeah,
It's down.
exactly.
Thank you, state
Yeah.
of Massachusetts. Okay. All right, and is that gonna be like, or are we gonna see that just for my information in the next couple of months, or is the traffic gonna start, the trucks gonna start rolling out? I've seen occasionally a truck coming down the road, but nothing in.
Until they connect into 140, that would be that's the only access.
No, as the actual excavation, you're
Yes,
gonna pick up pace, because it doesn't seem to be what we had heard.
Well, there's a lot of material there that, well, to get the project to proposed grade, so.
The pace is based on what the need is right now, so we had a,
You mean who will take the stuff that you're taking off?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have big demand. So that's what I'm trying to get a sense of. I had been anticipating what we heard from the applicant's developer, Mark Allen and so forth, back quite some time ago.
There's gonna be
We
a
were
truck
gonna
every
see-
2 minutes.
Yes,
basically.
that kind of, hundreds of trucks going out over the course of a couple of months kind of thing, and
we did have that for about like a 2-week period, and then it just dropped off. So we've removed probably 3/4 of what we have to.
oh, okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, a lot has been removed.
Okay, that's all.
I just
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to say for the record, I got confused thinking that one of these where it was an existing, or sorry, extension, because in this packet you've added like a pre-filled out one, and this one you didn't,
Oh,
and that's
so
why.
Mike
I
must
was
have
going
probably
off
tried to
it.
help you out and fill it out.
Right, and
Yes.
so I was thinking that, but it's all clear, they have not asked for it before, and this is correct, what you're gonna sign is correct.
Okay, and are we signing that online, or are we doing it in person?
I would like to do it right here.
All right, so I'm gonna pass you this one back, because you wanted this for the record, it's for 8 Farm Street.
Yeah, did you sign it?
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, so we will be, signing this, and we don't need to, we do need to, I think. approve
Yep. Yeah, we need a motion.
The extension, so I will accept the motion to extend, for an extension request, for the project of Red Mill, order of conditions to approve for a 3-year period. Request 105-900 and 105-910 BEP numbers for the Red Mill project road and the project of housing, for lack of a better word, itself. Together, I'm gonna
So
extend.
moved.
Diane's first, want to get a second on that?
Second.
Second, James, any other discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. I'm going to have you 3 years.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
Thank you very much.
Be back in 3.
And Hannah will
Yeah.
make arrangements to get you the copies after we've signed.
I just need to scan it, but you'll have to.
Pick it up? Yeah, okay, no problem. Thank you very much.
See you, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, what are you
Yeah.
confused? It's because I saw one thing and another thing.
Yeah, I did the same thing on the internet. So I was looking to see.
Yeah, yeah.
Your choice, Hannah, Blackstone Restoration Party, or do you sort of
Oh.
preference?
Okay, so if you are interested in having a voice on the Blackstone watershed,
The one with,
I think is it a nonprofit? They reached out to me.
the light.
Is someone here?
Black, no, it's the, I think I gave you guys the website link, but it's from the Blackstone Collaborative is what they're called. And so they're specifically looking for opportunities for dam removal, culvert changes, environmental type things. So I wanted to share that with you guys since you guys see that a lot. And so if you have opinions, fill out the survey. I've done it pretty easy. The next thing is Noel is officially retired. So we do have an opening and I was going to advertise it after this meeting, so. If anyone knows anyone that might be interested, let me know. I can make sure they get an applicant or application.
Last time that was, advertised, is it pretty current? Got everything in, you think we need? This numbers have been on for a while, so, you guys were the last two that.
Yeah, less than a year.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the only caveat about this is whoever comes in has to finish Noel's term, so they don't sign up automatically for free. They would, I think she was done in February, so they're signing up for, what is that, 5 months?
Yeah, I think that's what we
4 months.
are doing too. We're finishing a term.
You might be, and one of you is not. I can't
Yeah, one of
remember.
us is, one of us. is.
You
Yeah.
can always check, call town hall, talk to the clerk, they're the ones that swear you in, they can tell you what time, what date to swear in, and what period of time you're coming for.
Now,
Right, James can't escape, neither can I, so.
Kaya is interested.
Yeah.
Is that a possibility?
You can apply for it next year.
You just need to have the,
He is a resident.
Well, I know, I'm just saying, just wondering if that was.
you just have to have the availability.
Like,
You don't have to be, but they don't like it.
You don't have to be a resident anymore to be an employee.
It's just a stone.
We got that clarified by this today.
No, you don't have to,
That's fine.
you don't have, there is a bylaw saying you have to be a town resident, but there's also the caveat that the board of, the select board and their infinite wisdom can waive that.
For town employees, Chairman?
No, for commission,
We have
for
appointed position,
appointed
resident,
position.
appointed elected slash elected.
the very bylaw.
Right, right, very valid, right. But yeah, the employment one, I thought was still valid.
Really?
I thought, but Dennis Sprain said.
I had never heard that they,
Dennis just said no.
I never heard that they had that as a actual bylaw.
He just wasn't allowed to vote.
It's actually. So pick around the
Yeah,
bylaw.
yeah, thanks. Okay.
She did? Oh, you should-
We still have
Did she?
people.
Okay, so commissioner opening, we've got that covered, 445 Hartford Avenue. Gentlemen, and anybody else in the room that's here for 445, come right up to the front, don't be shy. Identify yourselves for the record, that would be helpful.
Sure, I'm Chris Wilson. Principal with New England Environmental Design. Michael Pariano, the owner at Rosewood and Scoops Incorporated there. A little restaurant just on.
At 445 Hartford Avenue.
Yes. I've got a home site plan that was done in 2018 that I brought the GIS data into it so we could see the topo on it. Michael has some issues with rodents on the property and then worked with a pest control company that suggested that he go in and take out some of the nuisance vegetation and spread, he recommended 6-inch trap rock to keep the vegetation down and then to kind of armor the bank that's there. There's a
Is that a trap? What was the?
trap rock, 6-inch trap rock. We've got some pictures we can circulate.
Okay.
You can see the 1-foot contours here, that it's a steep bank at the back of the property. If you're familiar with the property, it's got a fence and a dumpster here, and then there's a level area, a shed, and the septic tanks that are here that pump over to the area there. So he has taken the vegetation out and smoothed it out and then started to spread the trap rock when he was given a cease and desist. I've got an aerial picture here and then some other pictures you can send around.
The reason we was given the season, the stop for was because,
The trap rock he's spreading.
no,
Working within,
working within.
working in the buffer
Right,
zone.
working within the buffer, correct.
Photos of before and after, or
what is
currently going on.
He doesn't have an order for this.
Yeah, there's no
There's still
order.
an open order for the septic,
Here's the-
septic for
not for this.
2013.
You can
Yes,
see that.
that's what I,
Not for this one.
correct. I was like, wait.
No, there is an open order on the septic.
Yeah,
Is the septic was never signed off on?
Okay, these were not signed.
I don't have record of a
No.
POC. If you have one, I would love to have.
No,
record of it,
but
but
actually, I didn't do the septic design on that, but I mean.
I don't think that's ever been closed out.
Okay,
If you'd like to, that'd be great.
yeah, that's probably a good idea to take care of that, because it'll be an encumbrance on the property.
You are correct.
Yes. So that's something we can look at as well.
That'll come back,
Um,
to haunt you later.
Yes,
Yeah, that was done.
so Michael has,
Oh,
Is-
when was the septic? 10 years ago?
Yeah.
yeah, it's gotta be.
2014.
Just for the commission members, we have a couple that are newer, that this is a road, but we did the septic system about 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And that order of
Yeah,
conditions was
Yeah,
never
we did
closed out.
the parking area in
Yeah.
2018, and some
The
handicap.
grassy area over on the right is part of that, and
Right.
the picnic area and all that, so.
Yes. So I mean, after we recommendation from the pest control company. Michael went in there and we pulled out the nuisance vegetation. You can see the pictures there and started to spread the trap rock. Yeah, unfortunately, Michael wasn't aware that he probably should have filed a notice. The majority of the trap rock is spread. We've put in some straw wattles that are on there. We'd like to finish spreading that trap rock, which would finalize that. The one thing that's nice about the trap rock is it has no silt or erosion problem. It's actually a pretty good material to put in there to stabilize that bank and keep the pest control down. So
issues are you having with pests?
So, well, so this was my 25th year. I've never saw a rat there ever before until this current year. And I've had 2 different pest companies out there, and I know there's an issue because actually there was a thing in the local paper like last week. And then the town had sent, I don't know if I got an email or something, they were asking people not to put out like
Bird seed.
poison or something like that. because
Poison and bird seed.
Probably not to like
Yep.
kill other like bunnies and whatnot. So, I mean, we have some bait boxes at the restaurant,
It's affecting Lake Street.
it's,
And
when I was the
It's
agent,
bizarre.
but I've never seen it.
we had trouble
My son
on
told me.
on the south end of town.
I go,
there are all
"There's
the
no way."
restaurants too.
I go, "This
So
is Boston." He goes, "No, I'm telling you, Dad."
It's been a pretty bad problem for the town. And it's not just Bellingham, it's a lot of other surrounding towns are having the same issue with it. I don't
There's
know.
a big article in the New York Times about.
Well, the
rats
problem-
coming up out of the toilets.
The problem,
Yes.
the problem with poisoning them is that then the scavengers and the predators.
Right, the predators eat them and then,
Are being
right.
killed by the poison. So we're
I mean, not
killing hawks and coyotes.
Food
and-
web,
eagles, we actually have
the whole
a
food web.
population.
Yeah,
of
the whole
eagles.
food chain is being impacted
Right.
by poisons.
So the best thing to do there is to kind of limit their habitat.
Right.
And take out the nuisance vegetation there. So I mean, we want to work with the board and make sure everybody's happy there, but I think the trap rock is a good solution to it.
Hannah, this was not provided to be put on the portal, correct?
This was something that Neil noticed and Rob went out there with him and.
Yeah, they just asked us to come in, so we're here,
Come in.
Yeah, I drove by last week and saw the work going on and called Rob and we went and had a look and.
It was a vocal cease and desist. We didn't issue a.
No, we're all friends here. Yes.
Yeah, no, we want to make sure.
We just want to make sure it's done right.
So how close to the unit disturber are this pile of rocks? Is it in it?
Both like this.
Okay, so the silt straw sock, whatever you wanna call it, barrier that I'm saying, is that the?
That's
wetlands-
over way over the edge.
Is that,
this is-
yeah, but is
this
that
is-
the wetlands line?
This is.
That's
The wetlands are further back.
The wetlands a little bit further back, although
Yeah.
in this.
Pretty much
location here,
toe
they're fairly close.
slope.
It's basically the
slope.
total slope.
Yeah, total slope.
I think if you went down to the bottom of the rock, if it was. You'd probably get your feet wet and that's.
So how many
if we
more
were in a drought.
square feet do you have to cover to get the area covered that was recommended?
Yeah, like
that you
the
planned to do?
So where the septic tanks out back are, that, like. So there's.
Point on the plan there so you can. Your septic tanks are just the right of the shed there.
Yeah, but this is like.
So,
this.
so there's the
People
sheds, okay, so the septic tanks are here. So we just have to go a little bit further there to the picnic area. And then the grade in this area here is pretty much down where those straw wattles are, is where he has to spread the rest of the stuff.
It just slopes, it kind of sloped.
It's a gradual,
That-
slope.
It's not as steep, it's flatter on the right hand, it's
Right.
over towards Bruce.
Yeah,
It's-
you can see the contours of.
Yeah,
flat,
it flattens out behind the fence and it's not as steep down into the wet. And it's a little drier over on that side, but it's just more gradual.
How much more clearing do you have to?
No more clearing, it's just
Cleared
better
everything
spraying.
first.
It's already clear.
Oh, yeah, it's already clear. But, and then again, that was, the clearing was up, probably on the slope. They didn't clear
The
into,
slope.
into the wet. They cleared the slope.
Down
And,
to the
and as you can see in the photos up around the shed or what those coolers or
Walk-in
something out there,
cooler.
walk-ins, yeah.
Yes.
It seems like it could benefit, surface water runoff.
Yeah, no, it's definitely kind of benefit. It takes the turbidity out. It'll
I don't think it's a benefit,
help.
to runoff. I mean, it's just gonna perk down through the stone.
Well, as
It
opposed
has
to
a lot of
impervious.
sediment in some of that, in some of the pictures, like a lot of sediment on the ground in front of the trap rock.
Yes,
that
we would
would-
hold.
Oh, yeah, they haven't spread it. Yeah, we're gonna spread that to level it and then put the trap rock on top of it, I believe
Oh,
was
is
the
that what
plan.
you're gonna do? You're gonna put, and then complete
Just
the
like-
trap rock
Yep,
over?
So, yeah, the trap rock's in place. To the left is just gonna be like a 3-inch stone.
Where he's gonna,
Where
he's
it's
gonna put the
actually,
dumpster back.
yeah, and they have to put the 2 dumpsters back where they
Is
were.
that
I don't know why they call it.
oil?
That's just.
So there was
That's
two
for the-
dumpsters, and then there was the,
Grease.
the violator short,
Violator,
everybody called it grease, it's not.
The violator oil.
It's violator oil.
Is that double walled?
They,
I've
actually,
had your plans, it's grease.
What's that?
Is that double walled?
The tank?
Yes.
I,
they have somebody come and collect that.
Lawrence
They-
Waste
you know
does
what they
my,
do with it?
handles everything,
They use
so,
it for biofuel,
yeah. So
so it's recycled.
She's asking more if there's a spill. Is there secondary containment for that?
I don't know inside of that tank, so
How frequently do they come in? It's like every 2 weeks, isn't it?
they just come randomly and pump it out, so.
I don't think it's in the tank, you said something, about in the tank, I think the question is if they're pumping it out and there's a spill outside on the ground. is it-
They
catch it?
well, they
Or is
they
it
put a
recycled?
hose inside of it, so on the top of it, there's a plastic cover and there's a mesh grate. And then they open that grate and they put a hose in it and then take out that.
But it's vegetable oil, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
not-
exactly, yeah,
It's
I mean,
not
years
oil.
ago, I used to have like 55-gallon
But it's not.
drums.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a tank.
All of our transformer oil is vegetable oil. We still have to have secondary.
All right, so back to my question, I'm not gonna put you on the spot, but I'm trying to get a sense, are you half done the trap rock? Most of the way done, because you said, well, I just saw this area and this area and this area. and point to-
Maybe a day.
If that.
He's,
What's that?
he's,
He's
he's
got about a day
he's
left.
3/4 of the way.
Right,
Probably.
Yeah,
so,
at least three
so
quarters.
most of the work has been done,
Right.
the amount of square footage is less than what was done, that remains to be done.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the area is stripped of vegetation, so what we are looking at is either dirt being left there if you say don't do any more, or put the trap rock on it, which would then allow erosion to stop and rain to still penetrate through, it's not impervious.
Right.
Okay.
And then you're gonna do a finer coat on the top of smaller stone?
Only in the area of the dumpster.
Yeah, further back and by the dumpster.
As you come
area.
through the
Yeah,
gate on the
towards the
right.
parking lot, yes.
And this was recommended by the pest control people as opposed to leaving the vegetation there because of the rats coming up through the vegetation, getting close to the building and so forth.
Yes,
So
I
they
have
won't cross the-
letters from both of them if you'd like.
Did
them,
they
but
indicate,
yes.
I'm just curious, did they indicate that the rats won't cross rocks?
They just, I guess they like to, like. That grassy weedy area.
Well, I'm sure they like the
to
cover,
be.
the cover is good for them, but I'm also thinking rats will nest in city walls. and
I've seen them
So
running.
I'm just cautioning you, as you walk across the trap rock, you might find yourself stepping on a rat nest, who knows, down the road. I'm not,
I even set on the group with the sniper rifle.
Yeah. Okay, so what you were looking for is permission to finish the project as you had started it, despite the fact there was no permit or anything pulled for it, because you weren't aware of that, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
I mean, we've got those sprout wiles in place and like I said, it's probably the day's worth of work for him to get that completed.
And no other machinery or impact to the wetlands down at the bottom?
Not at all, no.
Staying out of that
It
completely.
was staying right up on the top of it.
And there's no evidence of any erosion, it's just that the work was being done hard up against the edge. Without a permit, so. Or erosion control.
But that's in place now. Okay, so,
That's in place.
so questions from the commission, other questions? Clarifications? Since nothing was filed for, I don't think that we need to provide any kind of vote permission because like we just talked about the hunting, I think this like, you're already doing it. Is there? a
Well, I
different
think we
opinion
need,
We should have at least an RDA to have paper,
Something, but
something.
an RDA hasn't been filled out.
No, I'm saying.
no, I think,
have it.
yeah,
Has this been encouraged at all by the Board of Health to do this?
I didn't speak to anybody from the Board of Health, no. I mean, they did come out and look at the place and actually, I'm gonna retract that because he did say something, and I know he's new.
Yeah.
There was actually two of them that came out, they came out 2 times. And he did say something about cleaning up and cleaning the area around the dumpsters and whatnot, the vegetation. And what, the papers and stuff that were on the ground and whatnot.
I mean, one of the big things that the Board of Health has done recently, just before I left, Charles River Pollution Control was concerned about the restaurants and the grease traps. So that they're ramping up the inspections on those and making sure that they're pumping stuff because of the grease down at the sewage treatment plants has been causing a real havoc with their screens. So,
The reason why I ask is I believe that they could file for an emergency permit as long as it was issued by the Board of Health. That's like one of the caveats, like if the Board of Health is saying, yes, we should let them do this.
I mean, I gotta see Dylan in the next few days, I'll mention.
We could, to James's point, we could do an RDA.
What is an RDA?
Request for determination of applicability, basically, do they need to file with us or not? We would say, no, we would issue a negative one, but one has.
With conditions.
We do some sort of like informal enforcement order that says like finish it. And it's like the enforcement.
Usually.
At this point, I don't think.
I don't think I've ever seen
don't
enforcement
know.
do something, it's the most enforcement don't do something, so I would
Yeah,
not want to start that precedent, reverse negative.
Yeah,
Not no, not a no. Let me ask you a
Paperwork
question.
involved is.
Anna, how long would it take to
We're
do the
all
RDA?
here, we're all here talking
We
about
could
it.
do
so
the
I think
idea
we're
by the
good.
next meeting.
Yeah, we could.
I mean, I could probably
My suggestion is that we
whip
do
an
an
RDA
RDA.
up after the fact type of thing and.
Well, I don't want to say after the fact, because technically we shouldn't give you permission to do something and then tell you to do it after the fact, I mean, to do it as an after effect, but. If in fact, by the next meeting, we could have signed off on an RDA, as James has suggested, it basically would be a negative determination that you don't need to do it.
I mean, it's something I can put together the next day or two if you
Right,
want
the
to
only thing is,
make a motion to sign it.
Well, we'd have to have it in the hearing. We couldn't do it until the next meeting.
right,
Yeah,
I
you
think
don't.
legally we have to, we want to do it right, and we want to continue the process, I'm just saying, it may take 2 weeks.
So
Basically,
that the next meeting's 2 weeks.
the next
If,
meeting is
if
2 weeks.
you get me the RDA before Friday, technically it's what our calendar says.
Oh, I can't do it, I got a colonoscopy.
No. Well, let me see, what's,
Well,
What are you gonna do the rest of the day?
Relax.
It's one of those things, it's, a birthday and that time of.
More information I needed, thank you very much,
Because-
okay.
I think I have to yeah, I have to advertise it. That's why I need it by Friday.
Yeah.
To have it on the next.
In order for us
I'll
to
see what I can do.
facilitate this, we'll do what we can, but we have legal things we have to post and so forth, so
I mean, I
if we get the
Well,
RDA by Friday, we can
stuck to
post
my
it.
office space.
It's a very simple form, and I think Hannah, it'd take you like 2 minutes to do the form, it's an RDA, it's very.
Yeah, no, it's real simple.
Right, so if you can do it quickly in the next 24 or 48 hours, I think that what we can do to help accommodate this, move us along, will be that
Okay.
put this on the agenda for the next meeting briefly. And if it's filled out properly, we would sign off on it as a negative determination of applicability, and then you would be good to go and finish it up as fast as you can do so. That's unreasonable.
We'd have, the siltation control that you've already put in, we'd have a couple of other things, and then we'd inspect it when you're all done. Give us a call, we'll go out, look at it, make sure it's all buttoned up correctly, and look into the septic.
yeah,
Getting that closed out.
Yes, oh, that's,
Because that's gonna come back to haunt you.
it's all stabilized, I'll get some pictures and.
All right.
Put a letter
It's been in
together.
place for 9 years.
Well, we don't need motions.
Nope.
So, we aren't gonna make a motion about this because we haven't officially received an RDA, but you get the RDA to her, then we will put it on the agenda for regular business, even if necessary, the next meeting, and we don't have to have a hearing per se about it, and we would just vote on it and.
Thank you. Get this wrapped up as we can.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, and good luck with the rest.
yeah.
It's an awful problem. I mean, my phone was ringing probably at least once, twice a week when I was in the Board of Health people trying to, get rat, especially down in the south end of town. Down near all the pizza restaurants and stuff. It's just,
I've been using this homemade, rat bait. It's supposed to not harm anything. It's baking soda, peanut butter and, pancake mix. You make it 30, 30, 30.
You have to give them syrup too?
No,
Wait,
well, no,
could I-
it's a, Yeah, and you
Fry 'em
mix it
up.
into a ball. I'll tell you what, you mix it into a ball, I put it in my yard, and the
fry
next
them up or
morning it's
something?
gone.
Okay, but
But what
are they just feeding, are you just
Yeah.
feeding them?
Yeah, are you just like breeding them?
No.
Are you just?
No, the baking soda, the
You're
baking.
just making them bigger,
So,
Don?
so, yeah, the baking soda expands inside their stomach and it kills them.
Oh, like.
Oh, so it makes it like.
Yeah, no, I
That's-
mean, you know,
That's
that.
the better way to
That's
do
like
it.
the Alka-Seltzer and the fish.
Yeah, essentially, but you know what, it's like, it's one of the recommended non-toxic ways and it doesn't poison predators. But I still think I have possums that I.
But predators, it's gonna have the same effect on them.
I
as
would
it's in
think
our
that
rat
those are
stomach.
the.
All right, okay,
We good?
I thank you, guys. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, any other business from the commission amongst commission members?
I just wanted to say, which I applied to this, you know.
Front looks nice now, by the way.
The general.
Thank you. Yeah, the project every year.
Good.
COVID didn't help,
When
but,
we're-
you know, we're getting there.
Well, COVID.
I already know.
I don't even want to think of that again.
I liked it.
You did?
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I left, part of the reason.
River meet with me, notwithstanding and-
Have a good night, thank you.
Thanks. So then I go to A through C, and see that A says a river or stream shown as perennial on the current United States Geological Survey, or more recently not charted by the Department of Transportation. So then I go to the current US stream format, and I see the stream is perennial. So then I see that notwithstanding blah, 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 the stream can be intermittent, doesn't apply.
But it's been demonstrated that it had no flow for that period of time, therefore it's not.
It's notwithstanding A through C.
See,
A applies.
see, Lou's opinion is, from the developer's point of view, I want to get the
Wait, I'm talking
DEP's
about
opinion.
regulatory stuff here, I'm not talking about
There's
applicants.
there's no specific project we're talking about. We're talking about rivers.
We're just talking about regulations
Right,
and
We're talking about
understanding.
rivers right now.
So it's always been my understanding that if you could demonstrate that period of no flow, not during a drought, then that stream was no longer perennial, period.
So I want to get a DEP opinion on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't trust anything but a DEP opinion. If the DEP says that's the case, and in this case, in Bellingham, for example, we are not under drought and prior to this perennial stream is no longer even intermittent, it's not even a stream, then so be it. But until I hear that from DEP, I
And
don't
The
believe that.
town bylaw, we don't say intermittent or we don't say perennial or intermittent stream, we say stream. So all our regulations on the town level apply to a stream.
Oh.
Oh,
We don't
That's
make a
important to
distinction as to what
understand.
kind of stream it is.
Can we
It's-
give it a bylaw of, river front area?
Yes,
What is it?
I don't recall, we'd have to look it up,
okay,
but
so-
we don't make a distinction on the town bylaw as to what kind of stream it is. We just call them streams, and we did that on purpose.
That's part of our town bylaw
When we-
development.
when we made the
Stricter
reg-
than the state.
And that's our
Intentionally.
existing
Oh, wait, is
bylaw.
that it?
No,
Now I'm confused. Is that helpful or not helpful?
That's helpful,
it's helpful.
Well, that makes it on the town
The
bylaw
stream is-
level.
because under the town bylaw, it's still a river,
It'd be, okay, I was thinking the other way.
No,
I understand.
because it's always a river.
Right, which is of course
It's
conveniently
just a river.
not mentioned by certain people who are not in the room, so we won't be discussing their project. But anyway, and the title thing about the railroad, I'm dealing with somebody who said very clearly to me about a week ago that the town / conservation commission owns that railroad, that in their understanding, and that I want to see somebody review the deeds and so forth. And me, like I said, I tried looking online, they had sent us.
When we acquired that property, we were out there on Blackmar Street, and it was made clear to us at the time that access was ours.
So the legal
The trail,
The
the
legal
rail,
opinion that
The
Hannah
bed was Concom's.
correct.
Yeah, but I don't know if everyone understood that email, the legal opinion.
Right.
I
They,
don't think
they,
it said that we own it, it just said that they don't have evidence that.
They don't have evidence that anybody owns
see,
it.
this is where I think everyone's getting confused. I think it's very clear that we own the part you think we own.
Yes,
The
oh, definitely.
continuation of it that splits that soul, that person's parcel.
And we have right of way, right of use, but may not.
But
own
technically,
it.
right now, nobody owns it
Right.
based on their search. But if that person says that they bought it, maybe it's just not been updated,
Well,
we need to see proof of that.
Right, we
But-
can see proof of it, which is.
But it's different parts of the railbed is what I'm
It's-
getting at.
It's two distinct.
So I'm wondering if there's confusion.
Well,
happening.
but we stood on Blackmar Street, way at the start where the houses are.
Yeah.
Looking down towards the Concom property with the other property on the right. Knowing that that was ours.
Yeah,
Or
That was the
believing,
understanding.
believing that was.
And
right.
Well, yes,
I have multiple
back there?
records.
oh,
of
that was
showing
back, I don't
that.
know when.
Because one of the
Advanced
documents was
documents.
1999 when the town.
It could have been
apparently
90,
acquired
it could have been, it was,
this Lot D or whatever it was referred to.
it was a
Yeah.
while ago.
Even if it's a portion of the rail bed that is owned by the Concom still, and a portion is not, and is either owned by some other applicant or an unknown party or
Mhm.
it could impact, because if a portion of it is Concom's and we don't want to have septic line going through it, then for impact or whatever reason, even a portion of it may stop that septic line from going forward. Obviously, it's got to go straight and keep going. So,
Or if someone wants to install some sort of like walking trail.
Well, actually,
I'm
if it's,
not
if
even
it's,
worried about that.
if it's our property, we can't allow.
Right, so what I need to do is perhaps come back to the Concom eventually after we see what leads, what's been provided by certain people in the room earlier tonight. And ask for the town council to take this on as a legal deed research, prove it out, show on plot plans what is and isn't whose. And get it clearly done by professionals who know this stuff, because I know looking at what I've looked at, it was hard to read to start with, and when we talk about bounds and turn 2 feet, it's literally one of them said to this tree which is leaning over. You know, this major pine tree that fell down or something like that. And back in the 1960s, that's how they referred to one of the
Yeah.
bounds for a property line in the deed. And it's like a tree that fell down? Come on.
A budding pine swamp was on there. too.
Yeah, it's like the terms they use, and this is in the 60s, not 1800s, the 1960s that was on
Oh,
that
yeah,
one.
they just copied it
Yeah,
from like.
Like copies from earlier, whatever. Anyway, so
I have one,
it's clear, as was stated by somebody in the room here, what's owned is not always clear.
I have one other question.
Yes.
I'm not sure if it's appropriate to discuss. The issue of the superseding order.
Oh,
I'm confused
Oh, the
with
issue
this
of
one.
a superseding order on when that happens.
Well, yeah, well, it looked as though it was represented that the request was going to be made to DEP to issue a superseding order. DEP has not ruled, as far as I'm aware, they haven't ruled.
I think if we're talking about a particular project that preceded the one that we were talking about earlier tonight with an applicant who's not in the room. We did receive, and I did get sent to me by Hannah recently, a DEP, although it seemed to be really dated. I thought it said April. Anyway, DEP confirmation that the earlier project was in fact denied and the
They
conservation. Commission was
upheld it, yes, but, okay,
So
But-
both court and DEP have now gone together, as opposed to one going in the other one not yet.
what I read somewhere in the documentation that we've received recently was that there was going to be some sort of representation made to DEP to rescind that and issue a superseding order denying our denial because now that stream is now not
That's,
perennial, and that's revisionist thinking, because at the time,
It was in the email.
right, I don't remember seeing that, I'll have to look for that.
are we gonna, how many,
Oh,
No,
he's
How
wrong
many-
then.
Yeah,
How many-
that's his typing. I did not
He's
do
wrong.
that.
He wrote that.
right, and I just want to
Yeah.
head this off at the pass that,
That's why I'm
That-
saying.
well, but I was still saying what I was saying. So to go back and revise an order that was issued at the time with the facts that were on the ground at the time, based on new facts, is not correct.
But it's not even a fact, so it doesn't matter.
Well,
Because.
but even if, okay, even if it was, in fact, now it's not a perennial stream, it's an intermittent stream, that doesn't change the fact that last year when we denied, it was. And that the denial was solid based on, but
I know my
But-
class here in Mass ED, but it's very clear right
But
here.
we
It's
can't,
very
we
clear.
can't go back and revisit. If something changed this year that was true last year, it was still true last year, and the denial was still affirmed. Based on that fact last year,
Right.
they refused to provide additional information. We denied the permit. it was upheld by DEP, period.
And the court.
Did the
Court
court
first,
rule?
court first ruled, and then DEP said, you know, you can continue with this new project that you want to do. We're gonna keep the other one open as long as you keep reporting back to us that you're proceeding with the other one. That's what the DEP left.
I thought he withdrew court. I don't think he lost. I didn't.
No,
think the
I
court
think,
had-
no, the court, I believe, ruled. I'd have to dig through the past records, but I believe they did, yeah.
Okay.
And then now, just recently, like I said, I received something in the last week or so, and I was like, wow, this is great news. And I said, and I'm gonna want to double check. I thought the date said April. I'm like, why would it have been that long ago? It would have been something that just happened because we would have heard between April and now, but I could have misread the date, so don't quote me on the April thing. Anyway, bottom line is that that part looks like that's closed out, so that project is not referable or being continued or anything.
I don't know that they can go back and
Unless this is-
undo their
So we're gonna get some legal advice, is my strong point here.
On both of
and
those
On
issues.
both those issues, both the title and who owns what, as well as whether.
the
from the
superseding,
DEP
if there any superseding.
And these, is right, superseding things, as well as the DEP whole stream drought situation, so because.
It doesn't matter.
Can we get a legal opinion?
It
if-
doesn't matter, it says right here.
No,
Okay,
no,
let me.
no,
Let me.
Because,
summarize.
because
Let me summarize.
DEP
This
is,
is 310 CMR 10.
right, but I'm not gonna quote that back to an applicant. I'm gonna
Why
say,
not? This is the regs.
because the applicant's gonna say, I don't believe those regs, and we're gonna argue about regs.
Then I'll be
uh,
like, go look at them and talk.
Right, well, we can also say to them, we have a
Legal opinion.
person for the DEP, because he does listen to the DEP, he doesn't want to, but certain people have to do what they want to. Anyway, and
John, James and I walked that. And while there was near zero flow, there was about a 5 foot space that you could see a trickle of water, a reflection trickle.
You see it in the picture.
There was evidence that a lot of water flows pretty good.
Oh,
There
yeah.
was even undermining of banks.
oh, yeah,
Well, we don't know if water was flowing under the gravel that we were looking
It
at
doesn't
either.
matter, because it says here, so this. Five,
I think it's gonna end the meeting,
yes,
because
okay.
I'm worried about this getting hairy.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Motion to adjourn.
we'll accept the motion to adjourn the
moved.
meeting. Second,
Second.
thank you, Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
There,